Our special guest is going to be coming up after the video. Her name is Kim Clevenger, comedian Kim Clevenger.
Woo!
Hey, so we're going to play the video and then we're going to bring her up. So here we go. Let's see here.
I dated a really young guy and bought an expensive luxury car. So I was a cougar and a jaguar. One night, someone actually mistook me for his mother. It was a little awkward, but I guess I shouldn't have been breastfeeding him in public. You know, it happens. It happens.
Here we go. Kim Clevenger, how you doing? Welcome.
Hey guys.
Hey, Kim.
Woo, good to be here.
Yes, welcome.
This is a highbrow podcast. I'm going to have to up my political game. Hang out with you guys.
We are solving world problems through ignorance.
Yes. Well, Kim, I actually think that your political game is potentially up. You're a comedian, so you know.
I am. I'm also from Kansas City, and I am horrified that my hometown booed during the moment for racial equality when they kicked off the Chiefs game tonight. I was
wow.
My hometown, the community, the family values, the barbecue, and apparently the racism. And the football.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Which hometown did you say again? It was
Kansas City. Kansas City Chiefs played tonight. Yeah.
Oh, Kansas City, Missouri.
Yes.
Yeah. I know a little bit about Missouri, and racism is one of the things I know. Unfortunately, I have a couple of friends or a couple family members that recently moved down there, and they tell us some things.
Yeah. Well, I left it all back home. LA has to claim me now.
Well, good. That's the good news. So, Kim, how did you get your start in comedy? Well, first, I'm sorry. How long have you been a comedy?
Yes.
I have been doing stand-up comedy for about a year and a half, but I started writing jokes in notebooks 25 years ago.
Wow. Nice.
Took me a little time to get to the game. You know, I always loved comedy, but I was a good girl. I was a daddy's girl. I didn't major in musical theater in college. I went to journalism school so I could get a real job. My dad is still waiting for me to move back to Kansas City and get a real job on the line at the Ford assembly plant, by the way. And then I got into casting when I got to LA 17 years ago, and I got on the other side of the industry, and I just stepped into it. I'm ready. I've got plenty to talk about at this stage in my life.
Nice. What who was the first person when you were growing up that you saw do stand-up comedy that that you found very interesting, or the first person you ever saw?
You know, the first stand-up comedy that is really emblazoned in my brain is Eddie Murphy, Delirious. You ain't got no ice cream. It was so real. It was, and then Raw, like.
Oh yes.
An old school Saturday Night Live, Gilda Radner, like her characters and voices and songs, and John Belushi and Jane Curtin, Dan Aykroyd, like comedy icons that I grew up with.
Yeah.
Why are you all the dead people?
They are all dead. Drugs and comedy go together.
Well, wait a minute. Eddie Murphy's not dead.
No, Eddie Murphy's not. Well, we were talking about Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah, but before that, I mean, the minute you mention Eddie Murphy, I think of
cast member though.
Yeah, he was, and the minute you mention him, I think of one of the first jokes I learned as a kid, which is, do you mind when you have shit in your hair? Which the bear with the rabbit, and I went around telling that to other adults and having them look at me. I'm like, what? It was funny. People laughed.
Ooh, no edit button from a very young age, Dan. I love that. I should have known.
Gets me in trouble, even here.
And then if you had like a top 3 comics that might have influenced you Or even two more other than Eddie Murphy. Were there like any two more that maybe you would say have an influence on your style or your approach?
You know, the women in comedy have really inspired me. You know, Wanda Sykes, Sarah Silverman, women who do not give a fuck and spoke their truth. And people were like, oh, ladies shouldn't cuss. And the standards for women in comedy compared to men in comedy were night and day. And they were like, watch me go. And then they get a lot of social justice, you know, and equality for women and racial equality in their message. And then Dave Chappelle, I mean, he's our modern day philosopher. He goes places no one else would dare, and changes hearts and lives in a powerful way.
Oh yes,
Like,
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, so those are my top three now. And Whitney Cummings, hardest working woman in comedy, and she has created her own opportunities
Whitney,
and built her little
honestly,
comedy
is
empire.
one of the most incredible comics.
Who's that?
And she.
Oh, sorry.
Whitney. Who did you say? Whitney Cummings, Stacey?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that Whitney. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's
sorry,
awesome.
I'm like breaking in and out, guys. I'm so sorry if I cut you off, but I just wanted to say Whitney is one of Whitney is one of the most comic friendly people that I've ever met. Free Whitney. I mean, but yeah, she's actually one of the nicest comics I've ever met. She really works out. Like, you'll see her do her runs between the Comedy Store, Laugh Factory, Flappers. She will do her runs, and she is highly motivated to ensure that a joke actually lands. I have so much respect for her.
Me too.
Yeah. I saw her at the Improv, and I just kept thinking the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, but isn't she like big famous? Like, we had gotten, some friends had won some tickets. I can't remember. And I can't remember who the actual headliner was that night. It says a lot, but I was struck by the fact. And at that time I wasn't even really like digging her, but I just knew who she was. And I was just like, but she's big famous. She's not like, you know, so yeah.
She does not, no, she doesn't care. She does her workouts at every single comedy location
I respect that a lot.
fit into. Like, she will last minute say, yes, I'll go ahead and do it. And she will go out. She doesn't care if it's a room of only like 10. She will go over there and actually ensure that her joke lands well. If it doesn't, you got a bad night. But she is a fully dedicated comic, and I have so much respect for that woman.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Me too.
The rule I've always had in metal: play the same for 3 as you would for 3,000.
Right. So what do your parents and friends think of you doing stand-up comedy?
So my dad and my brother are very conservative, like close to the vest with their emotions kind of people, and I think they were mortified at first. And when I was like 6 months in, I was going back to Kansas City, and Alonzo Bowden was playing the Kansas City Comedy Club. And I called the club and I was like, hey, it's Kim Clevenger, comedian from LA. I'd love to do an opening set for Alonzo Bowden. And they're like, who the hell are you? And I sent him a tape, and he said, do you have more than this? And I was like, no. And he called me the night before and booked me. And I sold 50 or 60 tickets. Like, my whole high school showed up.
Wow.
So, and I got to do an opening set for Alonzo Bowden, and it was awesome.
Badass. Congrats.
That's great.
He's brilliant. He's a brilliant comedian.
Oh, I love Alonzo Bowden, and he tackles, you know, social and political and racial issues with no apology in a really kind, loving way. Though he's a good dude. But my dad and my brother were in the front row, and I was like, God, do they have to put him in the front row? And I said, oh my God, every guy I gave a hand job in high school is here tonight. Thanks for coming, guys. Oh, and so is my family. I hope I don't say anything to embarrass them.
That is fantastic.
You're very handsy.
If you were chasing like the tail of some comedian who you admire, like meaning that didn't sound like I wanted to sound like, who do you think that you admire the most? Or you're like, I want to be in that lane, not have that spot, but that lane.
You know what? That's a very good question because I've been in it a short time, and like in the classes I'm taking and the new material I'm writing, I'm really trying to find my voice and my identity. It's like, is it the recovery thing? Like I'm a recovering alcoholic and cocaine addict and a recovering compulsive overeater down 85 pounds. Like, is that my thing? You know, is it the old and hot thing? Like I never even tried to look good until I was, so old that I look like a spearmint rhino lunchtime stripper. Like,
Oh, oh,
looks good in the
man.
low light and from a distance. Um,
Oh,
so I'm finding my voice. I'm not political. I don't like to like fight about politics.
Mhm.
Like my whole family is about politics and religion, being
Right.
conservative people in the Midwest, and I'm tired of fighting about it. But just as far as being a woman stepping into my own, like saying what I mean, being who I am, not apologizing, loving myself, like I tried my whole life to be what I thought everybody else wanted me to be. And now at this age, I'm like, baby, this is it. This is me. So
No,
I'm working on it. I don't know. Dana, what do you think my lane is? You know me pretty well.
so right. So I always like there's two lanes I think of you, and I actually watched some more Marvelous Miss Maisel. So to me, you are both Rachel Brosnahan. You are both Miss Maisel, and you're still Maren Hinkle. You're still the manager. Like I feel like you've got like the kind of like the elbow of the manager, but then we cannot. To me, we cannot ever miss how beautiful you are and how great a tube of red lipstick looks on you, right? And this cascading hair, so you can't miss that. And so I feel like you are both Miss Maisel and her manager wrapped into one. Like you're the beauty and the wit, but then you're this grounded. The other night I watched the episode where she was trying to teach her manager how to swim. I laughed out loud because that character is so, I mean, she's afraid of water like I'm afraid of water. Like in the kiddie pool, kicking for her life and screaming, like, stop, get me back, and with the kids laughing. So I see you being able to do like that. And even though I know these are obviously fictional characters in a world, that's still kind of the brand, though. I feel like, it's there.
You're my new PR department. And will you marry me? It's not going so well with the guys. You know what, Dana? Let's give it a go. I don't know.
Yes,
Are you game?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's give it a go.
Let's see here. Do you have any advice for anybody that might be just starting out in comedy that you'd like to share?
Absolutely. You know what? Just do it. Just be you. Like stop. We all try to figure out what's hot or what they want or what's going to get us the opportunity. Like if you are authentically you, and this is coming from 17 years as a casting director too, just show up and be you in all your glory, warts and all. Like tell it all, put it out there. Yeah, just let it rip because there's no one else like you, period. And if we're trying to imitate someone else, we're always going to pale in comparison. And just lots of mic time, stage time, every opportunity to do an open mic, to do a show. I have friends that won't do Zoom shows. I've been Zooming my ass off, like just getting that stage time and write some stuff, do some writers' rooms, run it by your friends, and feel the fear and fucking do it anyway. That's what I say. Just don't wait as long as I did. Do it now.
Do it now.
There you go,
Right.
Dan. Just go to
Yeah, I waited until I was 41 to start trying. So, and I started in the Zoom world, so I kind of like it. I don't need to leave my house. I don't need to wear pants.
Right. I tell people we can travel without traveling.
Use your own bathroom.
Right. Anthony Villarreal.
It's empty.
Anthony Villarreal wants to know, what do you think about Key and Peele? Kim, are you familiar with Key and Peele?
Yeah, I know Key and Peele. You know what? I love them. They're great. Like they've created their own projects. They've like made their own lane, and they've also put a lot of people of color to work in comedy and in feature films. And it's about damn time, It shouldn't be something that we're fighting for. We should all be represented all the time. I mean, for women, for everyone, all minorities. like
Oh yeah.
my LGBTQ friends, like we're all part of society. We should all be represented.
Contributing. Yeah, we should all have
Yeah.
the ability to contribute. I'd say my favorite sketch of theirs, really quick, is the racist zombies. I love that one, man. I really love that one. Damn, racist zombies.
I wish
I
I could catch more TV. But every skit that I've seen, like when they highlight them on Comedy Central on
Right.
YouTube, I put it on and I go, dude, that's another great one. Oh, it's another great one. Like everything I see from them is great. So eventually, one day, I'm going to have to find whatever service is letting me binge watch it and just start watching their stuff. It's one of the best sketch comedies I've seen.
They, I think I think, and it may, I'm not sure what Anthony was getting at. Like, I think in addition to everything that you said so well stated, Kim, is that to me, they broaden the voice of a certain generation. Like the things that they're like I grew up on Carol Burnett sketch comedy. So, everybody else that's, a different place on their walk won't know necessarily that, but they'll have Key and Peele. And I just think that what they did to further sketch comedy, just amazing. My favorite is the substitute teacher where he's getting all the names wrong. I don't know if anybody has seen that. Aaron and Balaki.
We have a Balaki in here. A Balaki.
Aaron, girl. That's my favorite right there.
That's a movie, dude. They could just make a movie of that, and I'd feel like.
And that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Your text message, the way that you receive it.
Wait, say that again. You're breaking up just a little bit, Stacy. And we froze.
Oh, I think the native Virginians.
She froze looking
internet.
good though. She froze looking good. That never happens to me.
They chewed through your internet cable, Stacy. I'm sorry. They chewed through it.
You were saying, Stacy, it froze. You were talking about the sketch with texting, and I'm not familiar, but
yeah, like I'm cutting in and out, guys. This is like the actual bad. My reception is so bad, it would be the perfect commercial for Sprint. Like that's how bad my reception is right now. And there's like a storm on top of it with thunder and lightning. So I have bad reception and bad Wi-Fi that's going in and out. So I'm catching every fifth word. I don't know if you guys are seeing me cut in and out. So if I accidentally cut anybody off or I don't make sense, it's either the bad reception or my vodka. Thank you.
You're coming from the future.
And that's, oh my God, like it lets you say all of that, but it won't let you tell us which sketch you like, but it lets you say all of that. And then we still can't get what sketch you like.
There's either Key and or Peele behind a machine somewhere going, not that one, not that one, not that one.
Wait, she's almost got it.
Right. There was a rumored movie on that substitute teacher, so I don't know. I don't know that was a rumor and stuff. But like, I just like smart comedy, and it's definitely that.
Kim, what would you do? You have any advice for anybody who might want to be going into being a producer? Would you anything that you might want to be able to, or you'd be able to share?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Suiting up and showing up and being reliable is the first thing in the entertainment industry, no matter what you're doing.
Right.
Like 5 minutes early is on time. Do what you say you're going to do. And really any foot you can get in the door. Like if you start as a PA, packing stuff onto the set or dragging cables around, or as a casting assistant, answering the phone, like whatever you can do to get your foot in the door and then just making a good impression. And if you know anybody that you have relationships with, call them and ask them if they're hiring. Like I didn't want to bother anybody when I was younger. And I mean, there's a polite way to do it. It's not, hey, I need you to do something for me. It's here's what I have to offer you. Here's my experience. Here's my work ethic. I'd love to be part of your team. And then learn as much as you can. Because if you learn on your way up, then when you get higher up, you know how to do everybody's job. And you should know how to do everybody's job if you're telling them what to do.
Wow. And you're more valuable too, right? If you know
Absolutely.
How to do
I got a comedy question for Kim. Comedy question. Yeah. So if someone called you tomorrow, to book a tour, like living and dead, who would you dream of going on tour with? Like comedians, like so, like I mean, you could say like Lenny Bruce, Rodney Dangerfield, Wanda Sykes, Whitney Cummings, like. But I'm curious if there's any that and like it's not limited. So living or dead, who would be your top? We'll say top three. Give you some space. Top three.
I mean, like old school. My favorite philosopher is George Carlin. Like he was so far ahead of his time.
Right.
Freaking genius. And I actually got to see him once in Vegas, but it was when I was still drinking. So I had my head down on the table, like drunk off my ass the whole show. And after the show, I walked out, sat on a guy's lap, and fell in love. Like that's the way I used to roll. So George Carlin, definitely. I mean, today, any of the women that I just talked about, Whitney, Tammy Jo Deering that does Bitch at the Comedy Store. I freaking love her and everybody that she books on her show. Like there are so many strong women, and Tiffany Haddish. I worked on Kids Say the Darndest Things, and I watched Tiffany Haddish host the show, work with small children, chit-chatting one-on-one, and then at the end of a 12 or 14-hour day, tape the opening monologue and the closing monologue that weren't her words. They were written by somebody else. And I watched her read the teleprompter, rewrite it in her mind, and nail it. I mean, she's hilarious, she's sexy, she's brilliant, and she is so good at what she does. Watching her do that, all
Girl trip.
aspects of that show. Yeah,
Right.
she's.
In your personal opinion, Kim, do you think Tiffany took too long to blow up because she had been doing comedy since she was?
Did she take too long? That's the thing about rolling the dice in entertainment. Like, no matter how well trained you are, how talented you are, how much experience you are, how many people it's still like that magic sauce that you finally get your opportunity. And
Right.
I remember Harrison Ford saying, the only difference between him getting Star Wars and everybody else was his friends got on the bus and went back to Iowa. Like
Wow.
they just didn't quit. And my casting director, Quint Strack, that I used to work with a lot, his two roommates were broke and struggling for years. And one of them is Octavia Spencer.
Wow.
Who's been nominated for a couple Academy Awards and won one, and his boyfriend Tate Taylor,
Wow.
who won an Academy Award for The Help. So, you never know. And they worked for years and years, and then finally the magic happened. So I think you just have to keep loving it and keep doing it and keep believing in yourself. Like if I don't believe in me, why the hell would anybody else?
Yeah,
Right.
facts.
Right.
Glory, hallelujah.
I love it.
They on Mobilize Us just did 2 days ago. Mobilize Us did a Zoom Where It Happens. This is their new thing. So they did a Zoom Where It Happens where they did Golden Girls, but it was all Black actresses. So it was Tracy Ellis Ross, Regina King. Oh my gosh, I can see them, their faces. Lena Waithe was narrating. Alfre Woodard played Blanche, whatever. So, and I raised that because it was a very powerful, it was like a staged reading, but it was on Zoom. And apparently it crashed Zoom because people couldn't even get in. But is there a sitcom like of things that exist, not whatever, that you feel you would be like the perfect funny woman for? Like, again, the range is available. We could go back to the first Ellen show, or we could go to Maude, or we could go to even the Bunker, Bunker
Three's
Family.
Company. Three's Company was my show growing up. I freaking love that show. Only I want to be dating both my roommates, the hot blonde and the guy that's acting like he's gay. I've had a few gay boyfriends. I haven't had any blonde girlfriends yet, but
Total fun. But I see
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like on Seinfeld. Oh my God, what a dream role!
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
I love Seinfeld.
That's a good brand for you.
What?
Like the
I'm
role.
gonna pitch and just say, No, I mean just going back into the Zoom thing about I was so excited about that. I was so into the idea of seeing Alfred and Tracy and all of them and Regina, and it turned out to be a table read, and I was actually really disappointed. They did a great job, but I wanted the finished product. I was so selfish. I'm like, I want the finished product. I would totally watch that. If that powerhouse was to in fact do a show, I would have done it. I would have definitely watched Tune In. But table reads were not. No, I want to see a finished product. I was a little disappointed. I was expecting to actually see some type of segment, but definitely I think they had a bunch of viewers, right?
It did. It crashed. A lot of people couldn't get in, but somewhere I read it was going to be a table read, so I was just available for, whatever happened. That was just me personally. I was just available for whatever happened. But it was definitely it's the mix of politics and what we can do to speak to people of color. It was kind of like comedy for a cause, if you will. But because then they talked about the census and they went into this great dialogue about the census afterwards. But there was a thought I had that I wanted to, after you, Stacey, about Kim. Just the thought went away. I had I'm looking at my notes and I can't figure out what I've scratched here. You're right. It'll come back. It'll come back.
You need some magic juice.
And all I have is my tea in my 1-800 call an ancestor cup. That's all I got.
Yeah.
But
this used to have vodka in it, but if that were the case today, you'd be calling me in jail.
Oh, I do so Kim, as someone who has been a casting person and now you're a stand-up, you see yourself come in as a comic to audition. What does Kim Clevenger, the casting director, say to Kim Clevenger, the comedian who comes in who's auditioning? I hate to beat up on sitcoms or single camera, whatever you want to say, but you come in and you read for some awesome role. What do you say to Kim Clevenger?
Fucking amazing job. I can't wait to book you for the role. That's what I say. Are you kidding me? It's so funny to be the casting director and now the talent, because I feel like I was worried, like I was stuck in the crack. I want producers to take me seriously and hire me as a casting director, but I really, really want to be the talent. Now I don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just doing me, doing my thing. I'm a good casting director. I'm funny. I'm smart. I'll show up on time. Book me. I don't know.
You're ready to do the work.
Kim Clevenger, the actor, the comedic actor, takes direction. Yeah. Well, it's taken me a few more decades than you have on you to build it, Stacey. Just go to rehab a few times, gain and lose 80 pounds a few times, date a whole bunch of assholes a few times, and you too can be me.
You know what? I found a cheat. I go on Tinder in order to build my self-esteem. I'm like, all right, people are matching with me. I'm still got it. Thank you very much.
You do. You do, baby.
All right.
I had it, but I put it in a box somewhere and left it under the bed. And it was somewhere. You should have seen me in heels before. It was awesome.
Woo! I would pay to see that.
Made me walk like a velociraptor and sound like one too. Wow!
Visual.
Like, ooh, I see that.
Luckily, that's one of the nicer visuals I put in people's heads. So,